Welcome to this episode of Unlimited Games and Joey. Today, let's talk about a trending FPS, Valorant. Valorant is developed by Riot Games. Even if you don't know much about Riot Games, you must have heard of their best work, League of Legends. Naturally, gamers and the industry will be interested to find out more about the latest FPS released by the developer of LOL. When the trailer and gameplay was released, many gamers thought it looked like CSGO, or Overwatch, or even Crossfire. Now, let's take a look at what this game is actually like. Currently there are only 3 maps and 10 characters in the game. The only mode it currently has is Bomb Defusal. Before a game starts, players will choose a character or agent which cannot be changed during the game. You cannot pick an agent that has been picked by your teammate. The first team which wins 13 matches wins the game. Every agent has 4 abilities, while each agent has different abilities. They can use the same weapons, so an agent is not restricted to only being an attacker, a healer or a supporter. As such, a team is not too dependent on character synergy in this game. Currently from the beta testing, we can see the players choosing agent on a whim. They aren't too concerned about having a support or a healer in their team. While high-skilled players can execute their combos and tactics, casual players can do their own thing. However, this means that the abilities are somewhat decorative. After all, it's an FPS. Comparative, Overwatch is more dependent on abilities and team composition. It's similar to CSGO, where you buy your guns at the start of a match. Then, the offense plants the bomb while the defense defuses it. The rules are exactly the same as CSGO, so stop saying this game is like Overwatch. There's one flaw in this game, which I think you can feel by watching the live streams and gameplays, which is the theme is quite inconsistent. While Riot Games claim that Valorant is completely unrelated to the world and lore of LOL, we can still see LOL's influence in the agent's design. When you take a look at their appearance, some of you may be able to tell which LOL character were they based on. As such, some of the elements borrowed from LOL added some mythical aspects to this sci-fi FPS, which is quite strange. Take this agent Sage for example. She's quite similar to the Ionians in LOL. Even her abilities are magic spells, but she could wield and shoot a machine gun. This reminded me of a scene where monks fire their assault rifles. Next up, let's see what the agent's abilities do exactly. Each agent has 3 regular abilities and an ultimate. Some of the regular abilities come with the agents naturally, but some have to be purchased at the beginning of the round, just like the grenades and flashbangs in CSGO. Many players would just buy a gun if they didn't have enough money for the round. To use an ultimate, you'll need to gain charges. You'll get 1 charge for each kill, death, bomb plant or defusal. When it's fully charged, you can use your ultimate. Charges will be replenished when standing in areas where the battle is the most intense. All purchased and charged abilities can be brought forward to the next round even after death, unless both teams change sides. Next, I'll talk about the actual effects of each agent's ability. First up, it's a Phoenix DJ Kyle. Curveball is a flashbang whose direction could be manipulated by him. It's very effective against enemy behind a corner. Once hit by this flash, you can't see a thing. Of course, sometimes even teammates will be hit. The second ability is Hot Hands, basically a Molotov that can block off road or burn your enemies to death. The third ability, Blaze, is a wall of fire that restricts enemy movement and vision. His ultimate is called Run It Back. Upon activation, a mark will appear on the ground, and Phoenix can now play recklessly. Dying within its duration, Phoenix will come back with full health at the marked location.
Show me where to go.
Jet, or Irelia the Blade Dancer. Her first ability, Cloudburst, looks like a ball of whirlwind, but is actually a smoke bomb. Its direction can be changed by dragging the mouse when the skill is released. The second ability, Updraft, will boost Jet to a high altitude, and she'll land with the press of the spacebar. Her third ability is Tailwind. Nothing special, it just helps you move and die faster. Her ultimate is why I call her the Blade Dancer. Blade Storm summons several floating daggers with high damage, high speed and high accuracy. Pressing right click can even send all the daggers flying at once. Killing an enemy replenishes her daggers. Jet can be quite flashy if her abilities are synergized properly. but that's a different story if you can't hit a single shot.
They think I'm an old dog? I'll show them just how many tricks I know.
Brimstone, Space Pirate Gangplank. His first ability, Steam Beacon, is a throwable beacon that provides an AoE fire rate buff to teammates. While this ability seems dull, fire rate is key in this game. A fire rate enhanced machine gun is basically a nightmare. The second skill is quite similar to Phoenix's Hot Hands. The only difference is that he fires it from his gun instead of throwing it. His third ability, Sky Smoke, is very tactical. He can put down 3 smoke bombs within a certain area on the map. He doesn't throw them, but drops them from the air. As such, he can choose to drop them from afar, which is effective both as a feint or as a cover. His ultimate Orbital Strike allows him to select an area on the map to call down a laser airstrike that deals heavy damage. For example, here we can see the enemy's location on the map. Using the ultimate, we can get a kill from afar and even force the enemy to move.
Watch them run.
Omen. Wait, isn't this Reaper from Overwatch? His first ability, Paranoia, casts a projectile that obscures enemy vision, and the projectile can pass through walls. The second ability, Dark Cover, is also basically a smoke bomb. His third ability, Shrouded Step, teleports himself to another place nearby. His ultimate, From the Shadows, teleports him to any place on the map after channeling for a few seconds. His shadow would appear at his destination while he's channeling. Destroying his shadow would disrupt his ultimate. As he teleports, all players will see the minimap turn blurry. This is a powerful ability. Let's say all the enemies are camping at point A. You can teleport to point B and plant a bomb, making it difficult for the defense to defuse. It's also very useful for getting behind enemy lines to ambush them.
I am both shield and sword.
Sage. This agent excels in healing and supporting, but this babysitter can take on 5 enemies all by herself. Her first ability, Slow Orb, summons a huge icy AoE that slows all agents and limits their airspeed. Her second ability, Heal Orb, heals herself and her teammates, allowing you to take more hits before you go out and die. Her third ability, Barrier Orb, summons an ice wall which can restrict roads and vision, and can function as a platform. This ice barrier is very fragile, but I realized you can do a trick to trap the enemy's bomb within the wall. Her ultimate is Resurrection. Resurrection revives a teammate, giving the enemy a chance to double kill.
Wherever they run, I will find them.
Solver, Hanzo. His first ability, Owl Drone, can fire a dart that can mark the location of an enemy it hits. When using Solver's second ability, Shock Bolt, he fires electric charge arrows which deals AoE damage to enemies. While charging his shot, right-clicking can increase the bounces of the arrows. Using some quick geometry, he can snipe enemies he can't see. Solver can also fire the Recon Bolt, which can detect enemies within a certain area. This is exceptionally useful in attacking or holding a point, but the Recon Bolt can be destroyed by enemies. His ultimate, Hunter's Fury, allows him to fire 3 powerful arrows which can damage and mark enemies. His ultimate has a very long range and can go through walls. Raze, Jinx the Loose Cannon. She can summon a Boombot, which searches for enemies within a range before jumping onto them and self-destructing. They can be destroyed by enemies. Her second ability, Paint Shells, is a grenade that releases 3 smaller grenades upon detonation, creating a larger explosion. Blast Pack can be thrown onto a surface. It will automatically explode when the time is up, but you can also manually detonate it before that. You can also detonate it while standing on it to boost yourself. Her ultimate, Showstopper, fires a rocket missile that causes devastating damage. Breach, he is a beast. His first ability, Flashpoint, is a flashbang that can penetrate walls. His second ability, Fault Line, causes an earthquake which will disorient enemy agents within its AoE. Aftershock, an explosive shot that can pass through walls. His ultimate Rolling Thunder creates an even bigger earthquake that can stun enemies after they were sent flying. Viper. She has a unique trait, Fuel, which is spent whenever she uses an ability. Her fuel will regenerate after it's depleted. She can also toggle her abilities to control the volume of fuel in her storage. Snakebite is a projectile that leaves a pool of poison on the ground, which slows down and damages enemy agents on it. Toxic Screen is an ability that shoots out a long straight line of toxic emitters. Then the emitters can be toggled on to create a toxic screen that deals damage onto enemies who are passing by. It can also split up the areas and limit the enemy's vision. Poison Cloud is a toxic emitting grenade that can create a spherical AoE that inflicts damage and obscures vision. Her ultimate is very useful in teamfight. Viper's Pit obscures a large area with toxic mist, which cannot be seen through and deals DK damage to everyone in it except for Viper. It can reduce other agents' max HP. This ability has a long duration, which is helpful for both planting and defusing bombs.
Nothing stays hidden from me. Nothing.
Cypher, a sneaky spy. His first ability, Trap Wire, is a tripwire that connects walls. Cyber Cage is a remote control trap, which is yet another smoke grenade, but which will slow down any enemies within it. His third ability, Spy Cam, is similar to Owl Drone and can fire a dart that can mark his enemies' locations. The Spy Cam can be retrieved and reused.
10 seconds left.
His ultimate Neuro Theft is used to check an enemy's corpse to expose their teammates' locations. When they are exposed, the enemies will also be notified. Now, all these agents can be unlocked by playing and gaining experience, or through purchase. Currently, a rather serious issue is that collision detection has yet to be optimized, so when a bunch of people move closely, the agents will shiver. Another complaint I have is about the skins in this game. The texture feels quite bad, and it feels like I'm playing Crossfire. From my observation, there's not a single attractive skin. They all look terrible. In conclusion, if you watch Valorant gameplays or streams, you might find it strange and over the top. But once you get used to the lore, it's like CSGO but with more fun. My in-game experience was not bad, I would say. Now, Valorant is still in beta. It's most likely gonna be a free game like LOL, and they'll sell items that would not affect game balance such as cosmetics tools. Compared to CSGO, I find Valorant more entertaining. Will this game become the next hot esport event? I don't know, but I think when the game is officially released, many will try it out since it's free. Then, if it's not their thing, they'll just leave. Thanks for watching this episode of Unlimited Games. If you liked this video, please subscribe. I'm Joey and I'll see you next time.